Welcome to the lecture series on Python programming. We are in the module covering conditionals, iterators, and generators, right? And we have already covered the conditionals and the iterators. Now we are going to wrap up this module by covering the generators portion. So what are generators? Generators are Python functions which help in easing out the execution of the iterators or the loops. Okay, how we will see shortly. There are primarily two generators. One is the range function, generator functions. First is the range function. Second one is the enumerate function. Okay, so let's look at each one of them. First, going to the range function. What is a range function? Say, for example, if I want to generate a range of values, okay, for whatever is the reason. Say, for example, I want to generate a range of roll numbers of a set of students, right? So how do I have to do that? I have to use a for loop, and using the for loop, probably I'll have to kind of load a tuple, a list or something of that sort, right? Some data type or some data structure I have to fill in using an iterator, right? When we use a range, what it does is it simply returns me such a range of values without needing to use any iterator function, right? I mean, any for loop or any while loop. What is the syntax? Simple. Range, then the starting value, the stopping value, and again the steps that we need to take. So say for example, if I give a starting value of 1 and a ending value of 10, what will it return? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Just because the steps are being mentioned as 2. If the step had it, in case the step is not being mentioned, default value, as we all know, it's generally 1. So here also it is 1, right? And secondly, you can also do a countdown if you want to do start from 10 and come back to 1 and give a step value of -1. That is also something you can do, right? So whatever it is, if you want to generate a set of values without using a loop, then you use the range function, right? This is one generator function. Second one, enumerate. Say for example, you have a particular variable, say for example list variable, which has different elements, right? And you want to kind of assign a serial number to each of these elements. Again, what you have to do is you have to go into a loops statement. Okay, you have to create a loop and go in the loop. You have to access each of the elements using the index, and then you can probably create a separate data type. Say, for example, a tuple or whatever, or a dictionary where you have a key value pair with the sequence number and the value, right? Again, if you use the enumerate function, which is another generator function, you don't have to do anything of that sort. What do? You simply use the syntax like this. So you use the enumerate function, enumerate, and whatever iterable you want to do. So for example, if you want to use a particular list, say LST, say students. Okay, so you have a list of all students, but you just want to create a particular variable which has a sequence number and then the name. Sequence number name, sequence number name, like this format it wants to do. So you just do an enumerate, and then the iterable, whatever iterable variable you want to put in, right? You want to enumerate basically. And then what you can also do is you can mention a parameter which has a default value of 0, but you can give some other value, say 1, or you can give a 2, whatever. So basically it is the starting value of the counter or starting value of the serial number you want to assign, right? If you don't mention anything, it will start from 0. Let's see a couple of examples. Say for example, I have a list like this, a list in eat, sleep, repeat. Okay, and then I have a string variable, say geek. Okay, now I have a enumerator created for each one of these. So enum test 1, I create an enumerator on this list. So what do I want to do? Each of these elements I want to assign a specific serial number to it, right? And then I have created an enumerator on the string. Okay, this is the second one, the string. So what it will do? It will simply separate out the characters for each of these elements in the string. So each of the characters in the string, and it will also create a particular sequence for it. Okay, so when I try to print this, you will see the first one which is printed is each of these, it will print a tuple for each of these. And if I typecast it to a list, the whole thing will be a list. So 0 eat, 1 sleep, 2 repeat, right? So eat, sleep, repeat, 0 eat, 1 sleep, 2 repeat. So the sequences are being given, they are being given, and a sequence number starting from 0 is being assigned. Same thing if I want to give a different starting point. Say for example, for the string, I want to give a different starting point. I don't want to start from 0. I want to start from 1. So that's what I have specified here. Enum test 2, I have given 1 here. So 1G, 2E, 3E, 4K, right? So geek, it has been split into 4 characters, and for each one of them it has assigned a sequence number, and the pair which is the sequence number and the character forms a tuple, right? And since I have specifically mentioned the start value as 1, it has not started from 0, it has started from 1. So this is how I can enumerate each of the elements of a list, of say a string or any sequence data type, right? So this is again a very, very important and utility function which is being provided by Python, right? So with this, I'm going to end the module on conditionals, iterator, and generators. So now that you are done with this module, you know how to write the basic program using a condition or using a loop. When I come back, I will be covering one other very important module, the module on functions. So how to create your own functions and certain other specific types of functions that you can create in Python. So that's the next module that I'm going to cover. So stay tuned. Thank you very much. And if you want to get an update on the future lectures which are going to come, future modules, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for staying tuned.